curriculum is always quite full. Yes, if we can fit it into the curriculum in a way that makes sense for schools, then yes, I think so. But also, I do think it's really important that young people are thinking about what's going on in society, are questioning all the time, are challenging things, not accepting things just because they're the status quo, thinking about how we can do things better, and talking, you know, and engaging all the time with the structures that are there, because there are structures there, and if you are engaging with them, which I understand, you know, you have done yourself, Connor, in the past. You were telling me about going down to the House of Commons and speaking there. Well, I think that's great, isn't it? You know, and really broadens your perspective on how this process of governance in this country actually works.
I think the thing that I'd really like to see us do more of is teach more of a sense of our own, the history of our own region and our culture and uniqueness and diversity, and I'd like us to have a specifically West Midlands component to what people learn in West Midlands schools.
So you would or would not support teaching politics to some degree in West Midlands schools?
I don't think that teaching politics would be my top priority. I think teaching, if I was to add something to an already crowded curriculum, it would be teaching people about the region and trying to help put back some of the pride in the West Midlands.
My view on teaching is I really want people to understand. I do believe that it should be something that the schools get involved with a lot more, but I personally would like to see, if you like, local politicians being involved in it rather than just a teacher teaching it, because inevitably they're going to potentially put a little bit of a slant for their own views on it. So yeah, I would like to see it, you know, actually in the classroom, but I'd like to see people be, you know, an organised thing with a teacher obviously in charge, but essentially, like, you know, let's get local politicians in there and put their actual views. I think that'd be brilliant, because I've heard things from children or young people that are just bizarre, and they have come from the classroom one way or another. So I'd like to see real information in there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think teaching, realistically teaching, for instance, the history of the British Empire would be an enormous step forward. History teaching is appalling. You know, the British Empire, you go to any part of the world other than where expatriate white English people are residing and ask about the British Empire, you'll get, oh yes, the empire in which the sun never set and the blood never dried. A war every year since 1847 onwards for 150 years. That's ludicrous. The British Empire only existed by plundering and exploiting peoples throughout the world. Now we've got to live with that, with the consequences of that. But it does mean that if we address it properly, we can also gain benefits from it. Our culture has been massively improved. You know, curry is our national dish, and so rightly so. So perhaps we can learn to think of, for instance, the 1851 Indian Mutiny, as British politicians call it, whereas in India, school children are advised that it's the first war of Indian independence. We've got to get our minds set into that, because Britain, out of the European Union, trying to sell its goods and wares, technology and drugs in a wider world, it's not going to sell stuff to China and to India and to Africa unless they see us as a reformed country, as a different country. It means a different settlement, I think, a more progressive, anti-racist and anti-imperialist position.
Hugely. I think I would support not only teaching politics, teaching sociology, teaching people to look at society and go, well, why is it like this? How is it elsewhere? How has it been? How could it be? How should it be? Why is it that way? I think that people don't know the world can be different because they've never known anything else, and part of education should be about broadening of horizons and opening people's minds and teaching critical thinking and questioning. So I think politics and sociology should both be back on the curriculum, absolutely.